you're doing a strongman event like a Conan's wheel, you're always trying to strategize and figure out how you can make a difficult event a little bit easier. So we had an athlete suggest, what if you moved from the end closer to the middle? That would cut down on your distance around. You can, but it'll be heavier. So today, we aim to find out with our strongman math how much shorter you would go, but also how much heavier it would be. Now this is just our Conan's wheel, so the math isn't going to be exactly the same if you have a different one at home, at your gym, at your comp, but the basic idea will remain the same. So if we're going from the pivot point to about as close in as you could get with your arms, on ours we'd be at about
12 feet, 12 and a half feet.
If we go a little bit further out, probably the furthest point out where you could actually get your arms up underneath would be about
14 and a half feet.
So let's do some math. We're doing some basic strongman geometry here, where our Conan's wheel is going to be the radius, and then we have to use 2 pi r to find the circumference, which is going to be our carrying distance around. If you're lifting where we suggest, at the end of it, where it's 14 and a half feet, that's going to make our total distance about 91 feet around. If you lift closer to the center of the wheel at 12 and a half feet, the carry distance will be 78.5 feet, which is going to be 12 and a half feet less. According to Google, if we use the average person's step length, that's going to come out to around 5 or 6 steps that you would save per Conan's wheel rotation. So now let's find out how much heavier is it going to be at that pickup spot. Best leverage is going to be at the end. And if you want to think about it this way, if you've ever done one of those lever deadlifts where it has the multiple stages you have to go through, the first lift is really easy and it gets harder and harder and harder. Same thing here. This is going to be lighter than this, and we're going to find out how much lighter.
So we're going to weigh it, and we'll just see what the difference is between all the way out on the arm versus as far in the arm.
To figure this out, we used 2 different methods, pen and paper, and for more fun and so we could demonstrate that our math was correct, we weighed it out at both points. We did the empty and with weight on it. At the end of it, where we suggest that you pick it up, the empty weight's about 163 pounds in the hands. If we move towards the middle, the empty weight goes up to around 209 pounds. Now we added 100 pounds to the Conan's wheel arm, and we found the weights again. At the end of it, the weight's around 229 pounds in the hands. And at the middle pickup point, it's around 289 pounds. So starting off, the empty arm already feels 46 pounds heavier. But on top of that, the weight added will feel about 60% at the far end, and in the middle it'll feel about 80%. So think about it this way. If we were to add the weight needed to get up to 250 pounds, which is the weight that we're using for the women at our next competition, we would need to add 150 pounds. When you figure up the difference in feeling between the 2 percentages, plus the empty weight feeling heavier to begin with, instead of it feeling like 253 pounds at the end, in the middle it would feel like 329 pounds. If we were to add the weight to get it up to 550 pounds, which is the weight we have listed for the heavyweight and super heavyweight men at our next comp, we would need to add 645 pounds. And in the middle section, if you do up all your strongman math, that's going to feel like 725 pounds in the hand, which is 175 pounds more than it would feel like. So for us, the answer is clear. Pick it up at the end, because the 5 or 6 steps that you're going to save isn't going to be worth the 75 to 175 pounds of extra weight that you're going to have in your hands. We hope you enjoyed this visit to Strongman Geometry class, and we'll see you in the next one.